The directors of the South Sea Company didn't just lie to investors, they bet their own fortunes on the lie, then walked away richer. In 1720, London's financial elite orchestrated one of history's most deliberate frauds. The South Sea Company promised to retire Britain's national debt through phantom trade routes to South America. The catch: the directors knew there was no trade, they knew the numbers were invented, yet they promoted it anyway, watching ordinary citizens liquidate estates to buy shares. By the time the bubble burst in September, fortunes had evaporated, but the architects had already cashed out. Exhibit 1: John Blunt, the company's chief architect. Blunt orchestrated the entire scheme: the false projections, the bribery of parliament members, the manipulation of share prices. He accumulated roughly £600,000 in modern currency before the collapse. When Parliament demanded accountability, Blunt faced no prison. He died in his bed in comfort in 1733. Exhibit 2: Sir John Fellows and the board members who distributed shares to themselves at discounted prices before the public offering. They knew the collapse was coming. Internal documents show they reduced their holdings weeks before the crash. One director sold shares worth £100,000 at peak, then watched the same shares become worthless for everyone else. Exhibit 3: The accountability gap. Parliament did investigate. Some directors faced parliamentary censure and had their estates confiscated on paper, but enforcement was selective. Powerful directors with political connections saw their penalties reduced or forgiven. Blunt's estate was seized, then partially returned. Compare that to the widows and tradesmen who lost everything with zero recourse. The South Sea directors proved something that still echoes: those closest to the machinery of fraud move fastest. They had information asymmetry, they knew the truth before the public did. They had exit windows, time to sell before the crash, and crucially they had legal complexity to hide behind. The company's charter was so convoluted that proving intent to defraud required proof that simply didn't survive the courts. So here's what it cost: roughly £7 million evaporated from the British economy, equivalent to billions today. Thousands of ordinary people lost life savings. The directors, most retained wealth, influence, and dignity. The lesson wasn't that fraud could be punished. It was that fraud could be profitable if you were positioned to exit first. And that asymmetry between insider knowledge and public exposure remains the architecture of financial crises. 3 centuries later. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. Subscribe. Each week we examine the forgotten power brokers and hidden incentives that shaped financial collapse so you can recognize the patterns when they repeat. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research.